Welcome students. My name is Manas Jyoti Malakar. I welcome all to this first lecture class in our History of Assam course. This video class is made keeping in mind the syllabus of APSC new pattern. Also, this video series will also be helpful for all government job aspirants appearing in different state level examinations. The PDF file can be obtained from the description link or WhatsApp number provided in description. Every aspirant is thereby advised to join the WhatsApp group to get regular free materials that we provide from Civil Services Achievers Point. So today in our first class, we are beginning with a history of Assam, and we will observe a brief overview of a history of Assam from prehistoric period to post-independence India. And in this class, we will complete the prehistoric period. So let us begin. As per new pattern of APSC combined competitive examination, general studies based on Assam has been given very much emphasis this time. As we can see in the syllabus, in the preliminary examination, APSC has specifically mentioned that 30 to 35% of the questions will be based on Assam general studies. So out of 100 MCQs, we can definitely expect 30 to 35 MCQs based on Assam. And similarly, in the mains examination, APSC has introduced a new paper naming paper 6, which is also called general subject paper on Assam. It consists of 250 marks and duration will be 3 hours. So in this video series, we will comprehensively cover both preliminary aspect and mains aspect from general studies based on Assam. So here we can see the syllabus of general subject paper on Assam. The first topic, history, art, culture, literature, tradition, and heritage of Assam. So along with history of Assam, the syllabus specifically mentions art, culture, literature, tradition, and heritage. So we can see the subtopics of the syllabus. The first topic is major landmarks in the history of Assam, major dynasties, their administrative and revenue systems, socio-cultural issues, freedom movement, political awakening and integration, salient features of architecture and monuments, arts, paintings and handicrafts, important works of literature, fairs, festivals, folk music and folk dances, culture, tradition and heritage, religious movements and leading personalities. So in this our video series of history of Assam, we will not only cover the history of Assam but also the cultural and literature and the social aspects of past history. So we will cover them in phase wise. In this video, we have specifically designed the overview of the history of Assam so that we get to know the major landmark events in the history of Assam as it is given in the first subtopic of the syllabus. That is, here it is mentioned the major landmarks in the history of Assam. So moving ahead, here we can see the map of the northeastern states of India. Here we can see that Assam shares boundary with Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, and West Bengal. Assam does not share land boundary with Sikkim. Sikkim is the only northeastern state which does not share land boundary with Assam. So before we study the history of Assam, it is very important to keep this map in mind because throughout the history of ancient and medieval period of Assam, the geographical area has always been changing. Many parts of modern-day Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura or Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh, or in some cases West Bengal also, as in Coach Bihar area, which was under the Coach Kingdom. So many parts of areas which are now in other states were actually one point of time under a kingdom of Assam. So when we will discuss the history of Assam, then we will find many kingdoms whose boundaries were whose boundaries crossed the modern day state of Assam. So this map has to be kept in mind. And the map which we have now post independence, it has come out of the balkanization process which began post independence. This balkanization of Assam will be covered in post independence topic of history of Assam. So now moving ahead, here we discuss the origin of the name Assam. So there are several opinions as to from where the name Assam derived. And when we discuss the history of Assam, there will be always mention of two ancient kingdoms. One is Pragjyotisha and Kamrupa. So in order to study the history of Assam, we have to briefly know about Pragjyotisha and Kamrupa. These ancient kingdoms of Pragjyotisha and Kamrupa has been frequently mentioned in the great epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and also in some Puranas such as the Bhagavad Purana, etc. Now, regarding the name Pragjyotisha or Pragjyotishpura, Edward Gate has mentioned that Prag means former or eastern and Jyotisha means a star. That means Pragjyotishpur may therefore be taken to mean the city of Eastern astrology. This we can find evidence from the many temples and many monuments in our Kamrup district of Assam. We know a temple in Guwahati city, the Navagraha. The Navagraha is said to be a very ancient temple, and at Navagraha there are the 9 planets where the priests offer their prayers and many devotees visit the temple. So it is said that the Navagraha temple has been there since the Pragjyotishpur era. References of Kamrupa are found in literature as well as many epigraphs. The story of the name Kamrupa and how it developed is a very interesting one. And as far as the story goes, the Sati, she committed, she jumped into the fire at her father's place Daksha when Daksha insulted Sati's husband, that is Lord Shiva. So when Sati jumped into the fire, Shiva carried her dead body and wandered throughout the world. In order to put a stop to this, Vishnu used his discus and cut the body into many pieces, and the many pieces fell into different parts. One such piece of body of Sati fell on the Nilachal hills where we have the Kamakya temple. However, Shiva's penance did not stop, and he went into deep meditation and deep sadhana. So gods sent Kamdeva, Lord Kamdeva, to break his penance and make him fall in love again. Now Kamdeva succeeded in his mission, but Shiva got so enraged that Shiva burnt Kamdev to ashes. Now Kamdeva essentially, sorry, I beg your pardon. Uh, Kamdeva eventually regained his original form here, and from then onward, the country came to be known as Kamrupa. Kamrupa literally means where Kama regained his rupa or form. The name Aham or Assam was probably given by the Ahoms who came to Assam in 1228 AD. The Ahoms entered Assam and fully assimilated and ruled Assam for nearly 600 years. The period of Ahom rule is a glorious chapter in the history of Assam. The Ahom dynasty was established by a Sukafa, a Shan prince of Mong Mao, who came to Assam after crossing the Patkai mountains. It is between 13th and 19th century that several tribal communities also came into the historical forefront of Assam. The kingdoms such as Kasaris, Sutias and Kots were the prominent tribal groups that were found in the medieval times of Assam. The rule of Ahom dynasty ended with the Burmese invasion of Assam and the annexation by the British East India Company following the Treaty of Yandabu of 1826. The British Emperor took charge of the state and thus began the colonial era of Assam. The British annexed Kasar in 1832 and Jayantia Hills in 1835. In 1874, Assam became a separate province with Shillong as its capital. Sylhet was merged with East Bengal on partition of India. With the partition and independence of India in 1947, the district of Sylhet, excluding the Karimganj subdivision, was ceded to Pakistan, the eastern portion of which later became now Bangladesh. So here we can see gradually after the Treaty of Yandabu, British annexed different parts of the northeastern state and it included under the British Empire. However, like all other states of India, Assam was also involved in various freedom movements. With the enthusiastic participation of many activists of Assam, Assam became a constituent state of India in 1950. It saw further reduction of its area when Devangiri in North Kamrupa was ceded to Bhutan in 1951. The Kamrupa of Assam was the capital of Assam. The capital of Assam was formerly Shillong, which is now the capital of Meghalaya, and later shifted to Dispur, a suburb of Guwahati, in 1972. Now, this point is very, very important from our prelims perspective in APSC. Many times APSC has asked the year on which the capital of Assam has been shifted from Shillong to Dispur. So the year is 1972. The states of Meghalaya, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram got their own separate states. We will discuss this part in post-independence history of Assam. So moving ahead, now we will have a brief overview of history of Assam from prehistoric to post-independence history of Assam. This overview is given so as to we appreciate and we understand the various dimensions of the past social and economic life of ancient and medieval of Assam. So beginning with the prehistoric era, we have to understand that the history of Assam has passed through several stages of development to reach its present state. The history of Assam can be divided into 4 eras. The ancient era began in the 4th century with the mention of Kamrupa in Samudragupta's inscriptions on the Allahabad pillar and the establishment of the Kamrupa kingdom. The medieval era began with the attacks from the Bengal Sultanate, the first of which took place in 1206 by Bakhtiyar Khilji, as mentioned in the Kanai Borokhibwa rock inscription. After the breakup of the ancient kingdom and the sprouting of medieval kingdoms and chieftains, chieftainships in its place. So this part we will thoroughly discuss in our ancient and medieval era history of Assam respectively. The colonial era began with the establishment of British control after the Treaty of Yandabu in 1826, and the post-colonial era began in 1947 after the independence of India. The first governor of independent Assam was Sir Muhammad Saleh Akbar Haidari, and chief minister was Gopinath Bordoloi, who witnessed the foundations laid of Guwahati University, Guwahati High Court, and Guwahati Station of All India Radio. When Gopinath Bordoloi passed away in 1950, Vishnuram Medhi took over as the next Chief Minister of Assam. During his tenure from 1950 to 1957, the first 5-year plan was started, Panchayat system of governance was introduced, and the agricultural sector got more importance. After Vishnuram Medhi, Bimala Prasad Chaliha was the third chief minister from 1957 to 1970. The Saraigat Bridge was constructed over the Brahmaputra River 1965. An oil refinery was established at Nunmati in Guwahati in 1962 during his time. So these are very important points from APSC preliminary examinations. APSC may ask in which year the old Saraigat Bridge was built, the oil refinery at Nunmati, in which year it was established. So these points are very important, and I request every aspirant to make a note of it. In 1959 and 1960, the famous language revolt took place in Assam, which is called the Bhakha Andolan, and as a result, Assamese language became the official language of the state, and Bengali also enjoyed the same status in the Barak Valley. So this language movement or language revolt, we will discuss these topics in post-independence history of Assam. After Bimala Prasad Saliha, Mohendra Mohan Chaudhary assumed the mantle of chief minister in 1970. The foundation of Bongaigaon Petrochemicals, paper mill at Jogighopa, and jute factory at Silghat in Nagaon were laid in his tenure. In 1972, Sarath Chandra Sinha came to power after Congress secured absolute majority. In 1974, the capital was finally shifted to Dispur in Guwahati. So these points are very important from preliminary examination point of view. The most important topic in the post-independence history of Assam will be the Assam movement from 1979 to 1985. We will cover this topic at great depth, and we will analyze the movement in our post-independence classes. The Assam movement was a popular movement against the illegal immigrants in Assam, mainly the immigrants coming from the erstwhile East Pakistan or currently Bangladesh. The movement was led by All Assam Students Union (ASU) and the All Assam Ganasangram Parishad. They developed a program of protests and demonstration to compel the Indian government to identify and expel illegal immigrants and protect and provide constitutional, legislative, and administrative safeguards to the indigenous people of Assam. The agitation programs were largely non-violent, but the Nelly massacre was a case of extreme violence. The agitation program ended in August 1985 following the Assam Accord, which was signed by leaders of ASU and All Assam Ganasangram Parishad and the Government of India. The Assam Accord 1985 was a memorandum of settlement signed between the representatives of the Government of India and the leaders of the Assam movement in New Delhi on 15 August 1985. So this Assam Accord was the final document which was signed after the Assam agitation, and many of the clauses and many of the provisions of the Assam Accord has been implemented in the past few years, like the setting up of the IIT, the setting up of NRL, and the setting up of Srimanta Shankardev Kalakshetra in Guwahati. These are some of the provisions which were mentioned in the Assam Accord. We will thoroughly discuss the Assam Accord part in the post-independence history of Assam classes. A 6-year agitation demanding identification and deportation of illegal immigrants was launched by the All Assam Students Union (ASU) in 1979. it culminated with the signing of the Assam Accord. The accord brought an end to the Assam agitation and paved the way for the leaders of the agitation to form a political party and form a government in the state of Assam soon after. So the Assam Gana Parishad was formed, and they formed government for two terms in Assam. Uh, the clause 6 of Assam Accord is specially mentioned for providing constitutional safeguard for the Assamese people. And recently, a high-powered committee was formed, and they have submitted their recommendation, and it is pending with the government. Now, today, Assam has an area of 78,438 square kilometers. It consists of 33 districts and is credited to be the most populous state in the entire Northeast India. So here we have discussed a brief overview of the history of Assam from the prehistoric period through the ancient, medieval, modern and post-independence history of Assam. So now we will analyze the periods of Assam history. So Assam history can be divided into 5 segments. Prehistoric period prior to 4th century AD can be considered as prehistoric period. From 4th century to 12th century AD, this period can be termed as ancient history. From 12th century to early 19th century AD, it can be termed as medieval history. Early 19th century to 1947, that is independence, it can be termed as modern history. And post-independence means post 1947, we have the post-independence history. So moving ahead with the prehistoric period of Assam, this is very interesting, and Assam's, and especially the Kamrup district, the undivided Kamrup district, much of folklore, much of history revolves around the prehistoric period of Assam. So we will discuss here the salient features of that period. The period of Assam history prior to the 4th century AD may be regarded as the prehistoric period. For the prehistoric period, we have legends and traditions scattered in ancient books like the epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, the Puranas and the Tantras. The oldest legendary figure is Mohiranga Danava. There is a hill named Moirang near Guwahati. It may have some association with Mohiranga. Now, this point is very important from the prelims point of view, because APSC may ask. In fact, APSC may have asked it in some examination where they have mentioned that the first ruler in the Danava dynasty, and they have given some options. So the answer will be Mohiranga Danava. Now, coming to the Danava dynasty, the Danava dynasty was the first legendary line of rulers in Pragjyotisha, that is ancient Assam. It was established by Mahiranga Danava. The Danava dynasty consisted of Kirata chiefs, the last of whom, Ghatakasura, was killed and replaced by Narakasura. Important rulers in the Danava dynasty were Mahiranga, Hatakasura, Sambarasura, Ratnasura and Ghatakasura. Apart from Mahiranga Danava, not much are known about the other rulers. But it is known that Ghatakasura was killed by Naraka. After Danava dynasty, we come to the Bhauma dynasty. The Bhauma dynasty is the second legendary dynasty of Pragjyotisha after the Danava dynasty. Narakasura, who is said to have established this dynasty, and his descendants Bhagadatta and Vajradatta are first mentioned in the epics Mahabharata and the Ramayana in the sections that were composed in the first few centuries. Narakasura's legend is further embellished in the locally composed Kalika Purana, 10th century, the Yogini Tantra, and the local lores and the legends became firmly attached to Assam. As I earlier mentioned, the legend of Narakasura is very popular among the masses of Assam, and specifically for the people living in the Kamrup and the nearby districts. Important rulers in this dynasty were Naraka, Bhagadatta, Pushpadatta, Vajradatta. Now coming to the Narakasura, details about Naraka are found in the Kalika Purana. Naraka was the son of a maidservant through Janaka, king of Videha. When grown up, he went to Pragjurispur and thereafter killing Ghatakasura, he occupied his kingdom. So here we find mention that Narakasura killed the last king of Danava dynasty, that is Ghatakasura. He imported Brahmins to Pragjurispur and settled them there. He is said to have introduced the worship of Devi in his kingdom. Later on, Naraka became hostile to Vedic gods and goddesses. He then abandoned the worship of Vishnu, of whom he was a great devotee in his early life. He then began to oppress people who observed Vedic rites and rituals. Krishna, king of Dwarka, became very angry with Narakasura. Krishna then attacked him and after killing him, placed his son Bhagarath on the throne. All the ruling dynasties of ancient Kamrupa claimed descent from Naraka. It shows that Naraka was a remarkable man and to be his descendants was regarded as a matter of pride. Near Guwahati, there is a village known as Narakasur Gao and a road called Narakasurali. Both seem to be associated with the memories of Naraka. Also in Guwahati, there is a hill called Narakasur Pahar near the Kahilipara area. So it is said that near the Narakasur Pahar, the ancient kingdom of Narakasur was established. Moving ahead, uh, we come to Bhagadatta. Detailed accounts of Bhagadatta are found in Mahabharata. In this great epic, he is described as the Lord of the Mountain. According to the geologists, in ancient times, the greater part of Southeast Bengal was submerged under water. So possibly the boundary of Bhagadatta's kingdom in that direction may have extended as far as to the shore of the sea. The epic further says that in Bhagadatta's army there were Chinese and Kriada soldiers. This may have reference to the non-Aryan tribe people in Bhagadatta's army. In the Kuru Pandava war, he sided with the Kurus, and after demonstrating great heroism, he fell, much to the regret of the Kauravas in the battlefield. It is said that he was killed by Arjuna, the greatest of the Pandava heroes. After Bhagadatta, Vajradatta ascended the throne. From the Mahabharata, we know that he recognized the overlordship of Yudhishthir when they later performed the Ashwamedh sacrifice. Now we know in the ancient time there was a ritual called Ashwamedh sacrifice. So as per this sacrifice, whenever a king lets his horse free, Ashwa means horse. So whenever he lets his horse free, through whichever kingdom the horse runs, that kingdom comes under the king who performs the Ashwamedh sacrifice. And if any kingdom stops the horse, then they have to fight and they have to resolve the issue. So Ashwamedh sacrifice was a ritual which established the power of a king in his surrounding kingdoms. So after Vajradatta, Naraka line went into oblivion and not much is known after that. Now coming to other kingdoms in prehistoric era, apart from Danava dynasty, there are other kingdoms in prehistoric era. One of the major ones was Banasur. Legends regarding another king of ancient Assam are preserved in the Bhagavad and the Vishnu Purana. He was the son of Bali, king of Sonitpur, which has been identified with modern day Tejpur. According to the Kalika Purana, Bana was a contemporary of Naraka, and as a worshipper of Shiva, he was opposed to the Vishnu cult. Coming in contact with him, Naraka deviated from the Aryan path, as a result of which he was ultimately king by Krishna, ruler of Dwaraka. So, as we have discussed earlier, Naraka was a great devotee of Vishnu. However, after coming in contact with Banasur, Naraka became Naraka opposed the worship of Vishnu, which made Sri Krishna angry, and therefore he killed Narakasur. Bana also had conflicts with Krishna, and this is as per popular legend due to personal reasons. According to legends, Krishna's grandson Aniruddha came to Sonitpur, entered the castle, and secretly married Usa, the daughter of Bana. When it was detected, Bana captured him. On hearing this, Krishna came to Sonitpur and rescued his grandson after defeating Bana in a great battle. Now, this great battle is called uh, Horihor Juddha. That means when Banasur captured Anirudh, then Lord Sri Krishna came to rescue his grandson. But at the same time, Bana was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. So he prayed to Lord Shiva, and to protect his devotee, Lord Shiva appeared before him. So there was a great battle between Harihara Yuddha at Sonitpur, and it is said that there was a river of blood flowing, and legend has it that that is why it is named Sonitpur. Bana's grandson Bhaluka made his kingdom at Bhalukpung, not far from Balipara, at the foot of the Eke hills. Remains of old fortifications are still visible there. Balipara may have some association with Bali, the father of Bana. Bhishmak, another legendary king which finds mention in ancient times, was Bhishmak. The Bhagavata preserves the legends of a king named Bhishmak who ruled over a kingdom known as Vidarbha. His capital was at Kundina. According to tradition, ancient Vidarbha was si- situated in the northeast corner of Assam. In that region, ancient buildings have been discovered, and popular belief is that these are the relics of the capital over which Bhishmak ruled. In the legend of Bhishmak also, Krishna appears. It is said that Krishna married Rukmini, daughter of Bhishmak, after defeating Shishupal, a prince of a neighboring kingdom to whom Rukmini was supposed to be married. Nagakhya or Narasankar. Another king which finds mentions was Nagakhya or Narasankar. His kingdom flourished towards the end of 4th century at Pratapgarh near Vishwanath Charyali. Four kings, Mimang, Gazang, Sribang, and Mrigang, ruled for 200 years in this region. Dharmapal, another king which finds mention in prehistoric times, was Dharmapal. He was a Kshatriya who came from the west and founded a kingdom. He made his capital west of Guwahati and attracted there a number of Brahmins and other caste Hindus from North India. The sage Kendukulai is said to have lived in his reign. Dharmapal was succeeded in turn by Padmanarayan Chandra, Narayan, and others, ending with Ramchandra, whose capital was at Ratanpur in Majuli. So, dear aspirants, with this, we come to an end of today's class where we have discussed the various stages of the development of the history of Assam, and we have gone in depth to the prehistoric period of Assam. I hope this session was useful, and from prelims point of view, the important points I have already mentioned in this video lecture. So in the next class, we will cover the ancient history of Assam. Thank you.